What's up, CJ Kid 1231 back again with another. I guess you could consider it an album review more as it is a revisiting. Now, being that it's 2019, about 20 years ago, NaS was supposed to release his third album, which would have been titled I Am Nastradamus, the Autobiography. And for anybody that knows about this, knows that it was supposed to be a double disc album before he went on to do it with Street's Disciple. Now, the reason why that this didn't happen to be was because of the fact that at that time, the internet was pretty big, and it had gotten a lot of tracks had gotten leaked, and due to that, and not wanting to give people something they already had, and wanted people to actually still buy the album, he had to kind of work around and basically produce new tracks that didn't really fit with the overall concept that he was going for the original album. And it basically turned into what we have now, which is I Am Nastradamus, and a couple of years later, the Lost Tapes. Those three projects, basically, if you combine the best parts of those three albums, along with some rare missing tracks that he never put on projects, that's basically what the original I Am double disc was supposed to be. Now, to the actual original double disc, you're probably watching this and saying, in case you're not a big NaS fan, or you probably never heard of it and you are a NaS fan, you're probably wondering, like, wait a minute, what the hell? There's an actual double disc out there. Is there a track list? Yes, there is. However, there has been some reports and debate among the NaS fan base that this track listing for the double disc was fan made or fan generated, or I think at least this person got it from a source that he's probably not going to reveal. Either one of those options have been basically discussed on how this list, even for the track list, even came about. But then you actually have another list as well, which was the list that was given to the source. It was on a disc. You know how usually, well, back then, because there's no internet and stuff, record labels would give albums to magazines to review a month in advance before the album is going to come out. And sometimes it wasn't the full album, it was like a preview of what was to be on the album. I'm not going to say all albums were done in this way. Maybe sometimes they actually got the full album that you would get in stores, but some of them were altered. In the case of I Am, this disc that was given to them was 13 tracks, and it had songs like We Will Survive, Dr. Knockboot, and You Want to Play Rough, and all that stuff. It's 13 tracks. And I believe, I could be getting this absolutely wrong, but they got the 13 tracks, and then they finally got the double disc product. The source got the double disc product, and they gave that a 4.5 mics in the source, which was pretty huge at the time, considering that his first album, Illmatic, got 5, and then It Was Written got 4. So, you know, based off the material of that 13 disc and then what was on a double album that was supposed to come out, if anybody's ever listened to the double album, you can see why I got a 4.5 mic rating. Now, this might seem controversial, but I will say it right now. After some listening, I actually do prefer the double album over It Was Written. So the source kind of got it right, in my opinion, for me. You know what I mean? I do prefer the I Am original double disc album over It Was Written. I know people might scream blasphemy, but, you know, to be honest, I don't even listen to I Am Nostradamus or the Lost Tapes. If I ever want to listen to any of those three projects, I'll just listen to the double disc, because it has the best of all three. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, let's actually get into the track, you know, especially because it's 1999, it's 2019, it's the 20th year anniversary. And instead of reviewing I Am or Nastradamus, which if we ever get to the NaS discography review, we're probably going to have to do those. Which is another reason why I'm doing it now, because this wasn't put out in stores or retail, so I probably won't be able to review it when we go through his discography, so it makes sense to do it now. Matter of fact, November 30th will be the 20th anniversary of Nastradamus, so I believe so. You know, since I didn't get to do this in April when I Am came out in 1999. So, anyway, let's talk about the project. Now originally this double disc was actually supposed to be a concept album. Both of them were, but it all fit into one singular story, and it was well done in my opinion. The first disc explores Nas basically being born into the world and living his life and becoming his Escobar persona that he kind of adapted in his second album. It was written, you know, because at the time only Built for Cuban Links that came out, and with that exploding, everybody had some mafioso nickname. You know, Nas had Escobar, Biggie had Frank White, Jay-Z had Iceberg Slim, Tupac had Machiavelli. You know, I think Corrupt was Corrupt Young Gotti. You know what I mean? Everybody had some mafioso alter ego at that point in time. And Nas just happened to be Escobar. And so basically, I think after a lot of, I don't want to say drawback or slack, because some people actually think it was written was better than Illmatic, but I think at the time, in that time space specifically coming off of Illmatic, a lot of his fans probably didn't like the fact that he was like adapting and copying the formula of the day when he originated a formula all on his own that everybody tried to go after. You know what I mean? It's like the person that originated something then goes and follows something that somebody else did when what he had was so potent that everybody was going towards him. You know? Better yet, let's say if two people are like selling something. You have something that's original, the other guy has something that's original. And the first week you start selling it and everybody loves your product and they go to you. The next week he sells his product, everybody goes to him, and the third week you start going to your competition. That's basically what happened, and you know, I think Nas took that in consideration and decided to incorporate it in the story, because in the first disc, after he talks about his life as Escobar, it basically ends with Undying Love, which if you've heard it on the original I Am, that fucking song, wow. But we'll get to that when we go through like tracks, because I can do this off memory. That's how good this album was. I don't need to take notes or anything. And I'm gonna go through it real quick since this is more like a look back than it is an actual review. But yeah, so the first disc deals with him as Escobar, living the drug kingpin lifestyle. Well, not even the drug kingpin lifestyle, but like just the, I want to say, arrogant player, show off Nas, like the show off, Mr. Show Off, basically. Then the second disc starts off with him being reborn again from heaven and being brought back to earth as Nastradamus. Hence the title of the album, I Am Nastradamus. Which is why, if you think about it, the two separate albums that came out in 1999 was I Am, and then later on Nostradamus. It makes sense because they're supposed to be together the whole time, but whatever. And this Nostradamus CD is way better than the original. That much I can tell you. Especially when you add in certain tracks from I Am and the Lost Tapes. And some like unreleased cuts that are like amazing. So yeah, then it goes through his journey as Nostradamus. But then even at the end of the CD, Nostradamus falls and he ends up defeated. You know what I mean? So it's really like a tale of two sides of, I guess, Nas himself. One is the player side, and the other is the more poetic, thinking, conscious side. And it shows that no matter which one you choose, basically, you're going to go and have your ups and downs either way. Not one side is right or wrong. You know, you could end up like losing your life or losing at anything in the end, trying to be one or the other. Because, you know, there's always the argument of, well, that guy's not good. He's a player. He's in the street. He's a dealer. So he's a bad guy. But then the drug dealer is looking at it like, well, you know, I do this to, you know, because I'm a product of my environment and this is how I support my family. And you're bad because you think that you're stuck up and you're better than everybody else because they're conscious and all that. And therefore you think you know everything. So I guess that's what he was trying to play towards. You know what I mean? Because that was the personalities that he adopted on both the discs. But, you know, let's actually get into the tracks. I know I'm talking and it's probably half bullshit anyway. You guys are here for the tracks. So I'm going to leave a link in my description box to the original double disc track listing. But if you want, you could look it up on YouTube. I'm pretty sure they have it on here because I've seen it before. In fact, I'll even link the video to the full double disc video if it's still up here and hasn't been taken down, which, you know, shiesty YouTube is nowadays. And if not, just look up the tracks on your own and put it together yourself. Now, the reason why this is good to me is because I actually have I Am, Nastradamus, and the Lost Tapes, the MP3 files of the albums on here. So I only had to basically download off of YouTube the other tracks. The only thing that I did change was, if you listen to Project Windows on Nastradamus, I got the better version where it still has Ron Isley, but it has the piano that do. That version is way better than what's on that Nastradamus album. I don't know why they took that out, but I incorporated that one into this version of the I Am double disc. So I just want to let you guys know. Anyways, let's talk about it. So the intro is Fetus, and this Fetus, I have to say too, I had to download this version of Fetus off of YouTube too, because this version of Fetus is way better than the one on Lost Tapes. It has an extra instrument in there. It goes, well, you'll hear it if you look it up on YouTube. It's way different. And it's not that different, it's just that one instrument kind of basically brings it to life for me more. And it's basically NaS talking about him being, basically created and formed in his mother's womb, and what's going on outside of the womb while he's being processed and, being made into a baby boy, how his parents are fighting, and, whatever. And basically at the end of the track, he becomes NaS. He's born into the world. And then after that, it goes into New York State of Mind Part 2, which is an amazing sequel to one of the best songs on his first album, Illmatic, which is one of the best albums ever made. So, more aggressive, definitely. The beat's even more aggressive. It even has an extra note, and I feel like Premier touched up the drums too on this version. I say this version is because it has some of the same instrumentation of the original New York State of Mind, but this one is just, I think it's way better than the first one. Not as a song, but the instrumental and the way that NaS comes and attacks it is way better. Then I think it goes after New York State of Mind Part 2. It goes into Life Is What You Make It with DMX. Of course, this is the time where they were working on Belly, so of course they will collab at some point. Pretty good song. I remember the verses, but I don't remember. I guess Life Is What You Make is basically them talking about, they'll wait till it's too late in order to start doing what you, gotta do in order to be where you want to be in life, but in a more rugged way. Then it goes into Small World, produced by Timbaland, and that's a pretty interesting story. Just basically talking about, watch what you do, watch me around, and all that stuff. Pretty great song. After Small World, it goes into Hardest Thing to Do Is to Stay Alive, which actually borrows the beat from another song that NaS did too. Like, NaS has two different songs with the same exact beat, except this one was supposed to be on I Am, the original double disc version, which we're talking about now. Really good song. I like it. I liked it the first time I heard it a long time ago. I remember hearing this song a long time ago when I was a young kid, maybe around 99, 98. It was playing in my aunt's car. I remember hearing it, so I was like, what the hell is this? So then, yeah, and then after that, it goes into Papa Was a Player, which is one of my favorite tracks from NaS, because I can relate a lot to the song, especially, dealing with the father thing. I'm not saying that my father left me when I was young like his father probably did, but my father was around, and then, him and my mom basically, like, the whole song is basically my story, essentially. And, so not only that, but this is also one of Kanye's first big production credits that unfortunately he didn't get credited for. So yeah, Kanye was doing work as early as like 98. So yeah, in case you guys didn't know, this was a Kanye West beat. Way before he got with Jay. Or Dame, for that matter. So yeah, Papa Was a Player, amazing song. Then it goes into Nas's Like. We all know what Nas's Like did. It's one of many fan favorites. Whether you're a Nas fan or a plain hip-hop fan, if you know about the song, this is the jam. This is the one that, I think there's a video where Kanye Kid Cudi, Big Sean, and I believe De La Soul were on stage with Nas, and as soon as this beat came on, everybody went crazy. Everybody. Look up that video if you can. It's all those guys on the stage, and Nas performing. Nas is like, everybody before he even starts his verse, everybody's just like, wow, because it's that good of a Nas song. Primo and Nas is always a great mixture, and there's a reason why people are demanding a Primo and Nas album. It's because of songs like this. Okay. Then after that, Blaze 50, which is one of Nas's greatest songs off the Lost tapes, but it was actually here on the original double disc I Am, on the I Am version of the first disc, and it's pretty good. I don't even think there's a hook, and if there is a hook, I think the part where it says Blaze 50, Blaze 50, sit back in a drop top Bentley. He does say that again in the song, but he weaves it in so close with his actual verses that you think it's just a part of the verse, and he's saying it again just for the sake of saying it. Really, really intriguing story. Like, especially if you could follow along with what he's saying and like taking every single bar and taking every image the minute he says it. Like, it's a really, really fucking creative story. So now after Blaze 50, I think that's when we get into Favorite for Favorite featuring Scarface. And I like this song actually, because it's been a while since I listened to the original I Am on tape when my father got it those many years ago. And then I didn't listen to this song until like around 2011. Loved it then, and I grown to like it a little more now. Because back then I liked it, but I didn't like super love it. Now I'm like, this is the shit, especially since I've gotten into Scarface more as an artist since then too. Then you have We Will Survive, dedication to Biggie and Tupac, also a slight jab at Jay. Using your name in vain and they claim to be New York's king. It ain't about that. That was for Jay. Because at that time Jay was trying to be like the king of New York, especially since Volume 2 had dropped. And that made Jay just go. So, a shot at Jay on that song. But it's a pretty great song overall. I don't want to make it seem like that's the only thing great about the song. Like, he took a shot at Jay. No, it's an amazing song. One of Nas's best songs, in my opinion. Then after We Will Survive is Some of Us Have Angels, which was a track off the original Nastradamus album. But, I could tolerate it. It's not really one of my favorites. If anything, on the first disc that I didn't like, I think that song I could deal without it. But I don't like it, but I don't hate it. So I'll stand it when I'm listening to the whole project. I'll let it play through. Then you have Project Windows, and that track is amazing, especially if you play the original version. Because there's like 4 versions of the song. There's one with a different beat. Then there's one with the lyrics that you hear now, with the doo-doo-doo-doo, but Ron Isley's not on it. Then the version that I put on this album is the version with the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo with Ron Isley, and then there's the one that we got on Nostradamus, which is like, eh. So with that being said, this is an amazing track. Ron Isley is used to perfection here. The beat is crazy. NaS's storytelling is crazy. So then after that, you basically have what's that song? Stay Daydreaming, Stay Scheming. Now, if you guys remember the Rick Ross, Drake, French Montana song, Stay Scheming, I think this is where they got it from, because, and maybe I don't know, I'm not super knowledgeable, maybe Nas got it from somewhere too, but I remember hearing that Drake, French Montana, Rick Ross song, and immediately thinking of this song, like, holy shit, they really took that from Nas. This is basically his version. It's just one verse song with a sing-along intro. By the way, this whole double disc, this is where Nas got comfortable singing all his shit. There's a lot of him singing on these 2 discs. So then, after that, you get to Sometimes I Wonder featuring Nature. And that song, I like it too. The beat is crazy. Nature actually uses his verse all over again, featuring a then unknown 50 Cent, where I think I forgot what the song was. It's 50 Cent, Nature, and Trade Mob. Nature uses the same exact verse on that song that he does on this song, but it works. And I love this song. And then finally, Undying Love, the last track of the first disc, where Nas essentially, if you heard the original I Am, you know that Nas essentially ends up dead by the end of the story, but it's really chilling how it all plays out. The detail that he goes into this track is fucking crazy. Every time I hear it, I just shiver because I don't think Nas. This has to be in the top 5 Nas storytelling tracks of all time. Definitely bar none. Undying Love, a way to end the disc, let alone the album. Yo. And then that's not it. If you go to the second disc, the Afterlife intro, and it's him basically begging God and all the pantheons of gods like Buddha, Allah, Jesus, all of them, begging them to give him a second chance. And they finally do, or at least it seems, when they throw his body into a wormhole and there's a bunch of hands sticking out the wormhole. And this basically goes into Amongst Kings, where it basically is God and all the gods reforming his body to become Nostradamus. And then after that, I think he goes into either Drunk by Myself or fucking damn it. Oh, I'm trying to think of the fucking other track. I know Drunk by Myself. I don't know if it's after this song. I think it's Life We Chose. It goes into Life We Chose, then it goes into Drunk by Myself. Yeah, Life We Chose and Drunk by Myself give me similar vibes. So to me, they're both great the way they are. Then it goes into Pray, which was basically a bonus version, a bonus song off of the cassette version of I Am. It's basically the Bravehearts just rhyming. To me, it's like, And Nas playing the pastor kind of reminds me of that one pastor off Warren G's album, Regulate, between the G-Funk era. I forget which song, but he sounds just like that character. To me, that song was like, in the second disc, there was a little bit more of, to me. Another example of a bunch of tracks that I don't love, but I don't hate. This is one of them. Then what's after that? I think it's a song with Millennium Thug. I forgot what it was called. Last Words, I believe. That's a pretty dope song. I didn't love it at first. To me, at first, it was just like, eh. But then after actually listening to the verses, especially Nas's verse, how he describes himself being the jail. This is basically his version, his jail cell version of I Gave You Power, how he talked about himself as a gun. Nas is basically talking about himself as a jail cell, as a jail, essentially in the song. So that's pretty amazing. Then you go into Family with Mobb Deep, which is basically Havoc on the hook and Prodigy trading verses with Nas. So again, pretty good song. At first, I was just like, man, the beat is. I wish Havoc would have produced it. I don't know if Havoc did produce it, but it doesn't sound like something Havoc would have done at the time, especially since Murder Music came out at the same time. So then you go into Come Get Me, which the whole second verse is aimed at Jay-Z again, produced by DJ Premier, which I'm pretty much convinced that this is the track that kind of made Primo and Jay kind of maybe fall out, maybe a little bit, because it's not as going at Jay and Premier produced the track. This is probably why you didn't hear Jay and Primo produce that much together after like 99. So, I mean, yeah, pretty great song. I remember the first time loving it. Now I don't love it as much, but I still think it's an amazing track. And then after Come Get Me, I believe it's fucking what is it? Find Your Wealth off the QB Nas Presents QB's Finest album. Love the beat to that. I think it's amazing the way they sampled that fucking song. I don't know the name of the original sample, but it's pretty dope. And it's Nas talking about him being young and basically being played out by like older guys. He has this one line where this older gentleman laughing at him, and Nas basically tells the guy, "I'll be as rich as you one day." So I mean, it's a pretty good song. I'm not gonna lie. Then it goes into "You Gotta Love It" off of the Lost Tapes, and that song is amazing too. The beat, the way Nas tackles the song, the flow, and everything. Whew. So it's just crazy. From here on out, from fucking, what's the track I just said before this? Find Your Wealth onward, the rest of the disc is. Whew. Oh yeah, I think I skipped the track too. There's a track in between Last Words and fucking Drunk by Myself off the I Am album. I think it's called Ghetto Prisoners. The Ghetto Prisoners beat, I wasn't really feeling that. The beat threw me off the track, and therefore it distracted me from trying to concentrate on Nas's lyrics. A lot of people say it's one of the best tracks on the original I Am. If so, then I don't know. But yeah, back to where we were. So yeah, after fucking, I'm trying to remember off top. After You Gotta Love It, then it goes into that track produced by Dame Grease off of Dame Grease's album, I Want to Play Rough, which, if you don't know, Dame Grease is the guy that helped produce DMX's first couple albums. But yeah, it's pretty dope song. It's really Nas on his more aggressive tip, and it was alright. But then it goes into the Rise and Fall, which I think should have been either the last track or the track in between Undying Love and the Afterlife interlude, because it's basically him talking about how he failed and all that stuff. So anywho, that's a dope song, by the way. The beat is crazy, the 3 verses are amazing, and then after that, the last track is, I don't remember the last track, to be honest with you, because I don't really listen to it that much, but yeah, man, that's the end of the second disc. So, all in all, pretty amazing, if you ask me. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I think it's pretty dope, the fact that he tried to attempt this, but unfortunately, due to the internet, they basically fucked it over for him, and he ended up having to put out what he ended up putting out, which was 2 albums. One was okay, the other one was, you know what I mean? And the Amazing Lost Tapes that will come like 2 albums later after QB's Finest and Stillmatic. So I want to say it was after or before Godson 2. I'm not sure on that, but yeah, man. So overall, if this double disc would have came out instead of I Am and Nostradamus, we're looking at Illmatic, It Was Written, I Am Nostradamus, the Autobiography, and Stillmatic. 4 straight classic albums in a row. Okay? Because I don't care what people say. This is what I will say, simply because a lot of people may not know about this OG double disc album. To me personally, this is a personal classic album, and to a lot of people that I've talked to about this double disc album, a lot of people consider it a classic as well. I know one guy says that this is the best double disc album, or at least for him it's second place. He still puts Biggie's Life After Death over this double disc album, which I guess is a fair argument. But to me, I wish that Nas didn't get fucked over the way he did and be forced to, put out all the extra commercial BS that he had to put out just to please the label and to give fans something new, because they already got the album off of like Napster and stuff like that at the time. So I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, though. And I thought a great way to celebrate both I Am and Nostradamus for the, I guess now 20th anniversary, is to talk about the original project that was supposed to come out that would have them together, which is the NaS I Am Nastradamus Autobiography. So tell me what you guys think about this album, if you've heard it, and if you have heard it, where do you rank it in NaS's discography? To me, this is definitely number 2. It could switch with Stillmatic, but I don't know. I mean, I have to think about it a little bit more, but this is definitely number 2. Of course, Illmatic is number 1, right? So, but yeah, this is definitely my second favorite NaS project. And, you know, again, if you like what I'm doing here, you could like, comment, subscribe only if you feel like you like the material that I'm giving you guys. Because again, subscriptions are earned, not asked for. And if you do subscribe, you can hit the little subscription bell, and you can be notified of any further videos that I put out in the future. So with that being said, before time runs out, guys, I want to say thank you for viewing. Love you, take care of yourself, and hopefully you're here for the next video that I do, whether it be a gaming review, album review, whatever it is. Alright guys? Alright guys. Peace.